All right, what's going on, everybody? Jake here from Made for the Range, back on the Made for the Range YouTube channel. Incredibly cool video today that we've actually been planning for like over a month now. I think we started this. So you guys may have seen a video I did on Instagram talking about Foresight's user of closure rate and how that's applying to kind of the modern shaft fitting methodology, you might say, with TaylorMade, which really piqued my interest. And then these guys reached out, wanted to talk about it more. And here we are at the beautiful Kingdom outside of Carlsbad, California. I'm super excited. So thank you both for doing this. And yeah, if you guys can just introduce yourselves really quick and then we'll dive in.
Man, we're excited you're here. I'm Duane Anderson, one of the fitters here at the Kingdom.
Matt Simone, Director of Custom at TaylorMade.
All right, so this is kind of your baby, or?
This is Duane's methodology he's been crafting for 20 years.
Yeah, 2019 you were saying, right?
Yeah.
Even before that, but 2019 is the first time you think you spoke about it?
Presented it, yeah.
And now we are with QI35, we have the fiduciaries in the face.
Yes.
And that was kind of the catalyst of where we're at now and talking about it, right?
Is that correct? Apply the methodology in a meaningful way with data behind it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Perfect. All right, so what's the first step here?
First thing I want to do, I measured your gamer. I love to know spec-wise where we're starting. Yeah. And so the first thing I'd like to do is get 5 or 6 with the gamer, see what's going on. I'm going to take a little video from the side that's going to kind of help me determine swing dynamics. It's really, when do we unload the shaft and then how do we release it? There's kind of 2 parameters we're looking at. So the video is going to help me identify kind of the when, and then the quad kind of tells me the how.
Okay. All right, perfect. I'll start swinging.
So funny.
Nice.
He's like, I've really been getting along well with the BB. And you can see those numbers.
Uh-oh.
Is that the miss with this driver?
Oh, 100%.
Got it.
That's the miss with everything.
Fair enough.
Start left and go left. Yeah, that's the one with this setup, I will say too. It feels like if I go just a little too quick here, it just leaves me. Yeah.
Perfect.
I tried that. That just blew in a 16.
He is late.
Interesting.
Let's see if I should.
Yeah.
Or mid.
Maybe mid-ish, yeah.
Let's see. Right. Yeah, it's pretty
No?
mid.
Pretty mid?
Mid
Okay.
to slow.
Mid-slow. Nice.
Perfect.
Cool.
Now, yeah, take a look at this.
Mm-hmm.
So, blue.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. Love it. Let's start right here.
Okay.
So based on your swing profile, I kind of call it fitting over the phone, right? If I saw the video I just took and the data I'm seeing now, that's not what I would have sent you.
Okay.
If that's all I had to look at and I'm sending you a golf club in the mail, that's not the setup I would have sent you.
Okay.
So now I'm going to put a few things in your hands that kind of match the methodology here, and let's see what happens.
Sure, absolutely. So what are you guys looking at as you build that? Sure. How is this shaft fitting methodology kind of built? If you could put it in terms of steps, I guess you could say, what are you looking at, and then what does that affect, and then kind of bring us through that list.
Sure, it's really two places. Is kind of when do we unload the shaft on the downswing?
Okay.
Right. So are we, and it really is, the baseline is your hips.
Okay. Belt
level. So are you releasing the club or unloading it before that point? I would call that an earlier release, right?
Okay.
Because the early release doesn't have to be up here.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you're just doing it here above your belt, I would call that an earlier release.
Okay.
Someone who hangs on to that angle past that point down here, I would call that a later release, right? And then belt level would be mid. And kind of, then the second part is how, and that's the rotation closure rate that we're dealing with. And basically there's a range of closure rates, and there's people that are fast flippers. Not a negative term, but very fast rotators. Yeah, it's just what happens, right? And there's people that are very slow, like Colin Morikawa, who's really slow through impact with his rotation, never wants to see it go left, face is shut, he hits a cut. So he's probably a slow rotator.
Got it.
And then there's people that are just kind of in the middle of that range, and basically just saw correlations with those metrics and what shaft profile those players tend to play best with.
Okay.
And it's just kind of connecting dots over a number of years, and looking at some metrics of closure rate and kind of head speed, hand speed on gears to try to identify when and how.
Yeah.
And realizing basically people that are a little earlier tend to play better with shafts with a real stiff tip section.
Okay.
People that are later tend to play better with shafts with a soft tip section.
Got it.
And then middle.
Yeah.
Because they make soft tip shafts, stiff tip shafts, and ones in the middle. Then the second part of the closure rate, the faster the closure rate, the softer the tip section for that player generally works best.
Okay.
So if I see someone who's early, keep it stiff, fast, keep it soft, middle of the road.
Sure.
Someone who's late, keep it soft, fast, keep it soft, I'm gonna go soft.
Okay.
Someone who's early, slow, I'm gonna go to the stiff profiles.
Yeah.
So it's really just about matching a swing profile to a shaft profile. Yeah. And as a fitter, being able to get to that answer quickly.
So for me, it was interesting. So when I made that original video with Foresight, diving into some of the people who have done this with you, but then also like very quick conversations with some other TaylorMade guys, the coolest thing that stood out to me was how consistent closure rate is as a variable, kind of regardless of what the person's equipment is.
Exactly.
Unless you go through some major swing changes, your closure rate is incredibly consistent within like even 100, whatever the parameter is there. Like,
especially when the shaft matches your release. If you're pretty in the wrong profile, it can bounce around a little bit. But
that's one thing we find
so
is
interesting.
It definitely tightens up the more we get the shaft profile matching your swing profile.
Okay. So that consistency will be tighter as you get into the right profile.
Yeah. And it's like a thumbprint of your golf swing. It's it's your DNA of how you use the golf club.
Sure.
So again, just trying to identify what that swing profile, let's match it to a shaft profile.
Yeah.
Kind of started for me with trying to figure out all these different shafts that are on the wall, and there's soft ones and stiff ones and mid ones, and okay, what are they? Why are they different? Who are they for?
Yeah.
And so journey of a couple years of kind of seeing these correlations, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, I see that, here, try this.
That's cool.
That's kind of how it was built over the years.
And a lot of that for you was working with the kind of players that come here. So you're getting higher level data, or is it more consumer, just everything between?
And that's where it gets interesting, because I mean, I work with every handicap level. I do get my fair share of really good players, but, like yourself, but I also get my fair share of average golfers. And what's really neat about it for me is that I'm going to use this same process of when and how. Gender's not a part of it. I don't care how hard you swing. Speed's not a part of it necessarily. You could have a ton of swing speed, but if you're late and fast, I'm going to put a soft tip profile shaft in your hand in an X flat. So it's really, again, just matching swing profile to shaft profile. Regardless of all these other things as fitters that we're kind of taught to. You see speed, where do you go? Stiffest thing you got on the wall.
You just go boardy,
Where I might see this swing profile with a ton of speed, and I might go the opposite first. Right?
Cool, awesome. Do you want me to start swinging, or do you want to explain the combination first?
As a fitter, I'm just going to want to see you hit it.
Okay.
A little different, obviously a different scenario here. I'll tell you in a minute. Let's have you hit it a few times first.
Okay.
And I pretty much will always throw out the first one. So I literally just put something different in your hands. 2 and 3 I'm paying attention to here.
I'm okay if we throw out the first couple, Duane.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Good center.
Okay, now at this point, let me see that club. I want to make one adjustment here.
Okay.
Which actually kind of ties into similar to what you're playing just from a loft standpoint.
Sure.
So it looks like you have your gamer down one click of loft, so I'm going to do the same thing here.
So the nice thing was I heard Duane's presentation like my 3rd week of work here.
Okay.
And I was like, well, we got to leverage that. That's entirely too good to not kind of uses a fitting philosophy, and we measure everything across the street, right? So then we just create a couple variables for the two halves of the golf club, arrange them on a chart. I could see where our holes were potentially in our offerings, and then just take some of Duane's fitting logic, put some numbers to it that we get, you know, from the reflective fitting markers on the face, and away we go.
So has this methodology just overall, has this influenced the stock shaft choices as well?
It will in the future, yeah.
So this is kind of the catalyst.
This is the catalyst to not only what we offer in our custom offerings, but then how we go about our stock shaft program, yeah. Because like Duane said, it's not a handicap thing. It's not like lower rotation for better players. We see across all spectrums of all handicap levels. So yeah, it's really helped us make some decisions you kind of come see from us.
I've been telling people for years, like stock shaft offerings just in general are getting better and better and better.
For sure.
And more thoughtful, right? I think that's the better way to put it. Is
absolutely.
Instead of just, you know, here's whatever your red offering is for the HD head or the max head, there's a little bit more thought into like what you can choose between the lineup for stuff, which is cool because you see players like, you know, Nelly at one point was playing that max head,
for sure,
which on paper is not what anybody would have thought, right? But she paired that up. She also paired that up with a shaft that on paper you wouldn't have thought, but like I imagine there's something there with like the combination of those things too.
Yeah, and you look at her golf swing, she's a little bit later, a little faster, and it's a little softer in the tip section. So it's like you start to see how these things kind of shake out, like you're just talking about. So.
And it's what's neat too with our last few generations of our drivers is the three heads we offer really separate themselves.
Yeah, 100%.
They're very different.
Yes.
We don't have not a lot of overlap, which is great as a fitter because you can gravitate toward one of them.
Yeah.
Where it's not, it's one of these we can choose. No, it's like, no, you hit this one much better.
Super.
So with Nelly, it's a great example of, again, it has nothing, her playing max has nothing to do with handicap.
Yeah.
It's just three drivers that do three very different things.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what this is like. That was a little better.
That felt about as good as I could hit a golf ball, I think.
Okay, good. Now, let me see that. From the data you're showing me, I think Matt went to grab something. So here it comes. No, I don't want you to look at it. Just want you to hit it.
Okay.
And so the idea, the point of the process from a shaft standpoint is let's identify shaft early in the process. And basically I'm fitting shafts. My goal of fitting a shaft is to get you in the fairway more often.
Sure.
Maybe get rid of a two-direction miss, right?
Yeah.
I can't take a bad swing away, unfortunately.
Of course, yeah.
I get paid a lot of money if I could figure that out.
That would be great.
But the point is, let's get you in a shaft profile that matches the swing profile and get you in the fairway more often. Then I can use the head, which has huge levers of CG, location, and loft to manage launch and spin. And to me, it's kind of if a fitter is chasing launch and spin with a shaft, the difference is we see on a robot, first of all, that launch spin chart's from a robot.
Yeah.
And we don't all deliver the face like that. But basically if someone's chasing launch and spin with a shaft, we might see 1 degree, 300 RPMs. I can do that with a click or two of loft.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna drill myself into the ground trying to chase this with shaft. I'm gonna chase this with shaft, then do head vertically.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest difference of how we kind of approach it.
Sure.
And then changing with our movable weights, changing center of gravity location affects this dramatically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, chasing this with a shaft, okay, you might, player dependent.
Sure.
Some players, you've seen it as a fitter.
Oh yeah.
You put that low launch, low spin shaft, and all of a sudden those two things go up.
Yeah.
Because of the way they swing.
Yeah.
And so as a fitter, we see those things and, whoa, that's weird. Or don't know what to make of it. For me, those weren't anomalies. Those were an opportunity to try to figure out why that happened.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so, you know, again, just let's get you in the fairway with a shaft, and let's use the head because we have huge levers to do this with.
Super cool.
All right, let's see what this is like. Don't look at it.
Okay.
Fair swings.
It's almost closer to like blue. For that medium lowish closure rate.
How was that?
That felt like my swing.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That sounded good.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was really good.
Yeah, that felt like my swing. The first one, I kind of dumped it.
Perfect.
Second one felt weird in the hand, but that was more my swing.
That was outstanding. Let's see if that repeats itself.
Yeah.
And is that, so when you make that swing, look up, is the ball doing what you thought it would do?
That one did, because I felt like I caught it a little out of the heel side. Normally, if I can start a ball, let's call it right side of a fairway, and either keep it right there or just make it fall just a tiny bit left,
Got it.
that's usually what I look up and see.
Love it.
When stuff goes right, it's usually like a very obviously bad swing.
Okay. Closer. Let me see that.
From a nerd standpoint, I hate that there's no data right there. From a video standpoint and what we're doing, makes a lot of sense.
Right. The nice thing about the Quad Max is we can set those tiles.
Yep.
And yeah, when I'm fitting, I'm not afraid to, you know, our guests get all the data and all the specs. But
yeah.
Right now I want fair swings.
Yeah.
Don't want
no,
that.
I like that because it takes any bias I could create is taken out of it.
Exactly. I don't want to see a number and change what you're doing. Oh.
Yeah.
There we
Let's
go.
jump in. There we go.
That had some power. A whiteboard and a TX.
See, I'll just jump on the yeah, ball speed jumped on both.
Oh, jeez. It's just got too much.
Goodness.
Need less loft.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's it.
Yeah.
So the one before that too felt like
I need
the most recent. Like if I feel like I hit a really good shot, but I know it was maybe just 10% bad. The one before that fell just, but it didn't turn right. It just kind of fell right. Is very consistent. Yeah.
I'm gonna make one adjustment here. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So what we can do now is either through our fitting software or online, like the link I sent you, I can take your numbers and I can throw it into there.
Yeah.
And it starts to spit out options for people that don't have Duane's intense knowledge of like all the different shafts and stuff like that. But even for our experiential group, you know, we're constantly throwing new stuff at them, new heads, new shafts. And so if you can just take some of these metrics and just say, okay, hit a button and it throws up recommendations. It gives them a great starting point for where to go. So you can see you're kind of living like based on your release and stuff toward if medium or blue shafts are in the middle of the bell curve, you're not quite low, you're not quite medium, you're kind of medium low-ish. So we're kind of living in that area of the chart. So that's what Duane's trying to find with you with either whiteboard or TR blue or even actually newer Ventus black. Sits just a touch softer than the OG version of that. So that's what we're playing with right now.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what happens when you made that CG?
It starts to feel very different.
Those are bad vibes, Duane.
That's all right. One more.
All right.
Ooh, okay, let me see that. Good. What you just experienced, that was just by changing weight locations, which changes CG location.
So static weight didn't change.
What's that?
Static weight didn't change?
No.
Oh, wow.
No, swing weight was same.
Crazy, okay.
But when we move the center of gravity around in the head, it changes feel.
Yeah, big time.
And so that's what you just experienced. So actually that was pretty cool.
And I love that too. Like I mean, to me, anytime you can make a change, do something big,
and see a difference, right?
Because it's always easy to like make it a huge change and dial it back.
Exactly.
Than it is to try to go up, right? Like
I'm the same way. If I'm gonna make a change, I'm gonna go here, so I can always come back here.
Yeah, I coach softball too, and like I tell the girls all the time, I would rather you go to 140 and then we'll figure out what 95 is, than you try to go from 60 to 65 to set, like, because we're not gonna make improvements that way.
Exactly.
Like I need to see how it breaks. Yeah. And then I'll dial you back until we're at the point that it feels good.
I love it. I fit the same way.
That felt really good.
Okay.
Like everything about that felt okay. It just felt like it was just a little...
Let's see, one more.
Late.
We gotta give him some left.
Mm-hmm.
Can't square it now.
Mm-hmm. Because that would bring... It's closer.
Here, let me see that.
Bring your spin and your launch down a little bit.
Can't wait to watch this back later and figure out what they've been saying this whole time. Oh.
Oh, Duane. Did you go upright?
No.
So that's the one I talked about earlier where it felt 90%. And my 90% is like a 2 yard just fall.
Yeah.
Whereas if that gets to 100 and that's a 5, just, yeah, that was fun.
Oh gosh.
Sold.
Oh gosh.
Now he's starting to jump on it. That's super fun.
Let me see what that one did.
They're like right on top of each other.
Oh.
Now we're good.
Yeah, so if that's my new left miss.
Oh.
We're good at that.
Which, by the way, people, the left miss was a foot out of the fairway. Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
One more adjustment. And we're
Okay,
done.
I'm in, man.
Last one. And the reason with this shaft was I started seeing the ball do the same thing. You know, in the standard setting of head,
Yeah,
I saw the ball do the same thing 3 times in a row.
yeah.
Okay, now let's start working with the head and pull some levers. And what's interesting about the process is one of those, I pulled some levers and it was awful because I moved the center of gravity a lot
Yeah.
and you couldn't find the face.
Yeah.
So now we go back to where we were, but now we're nuancing from there. So to your point, which said earlier, is make a leap in change first,
Yeah.
knowing you can come back a little bit from that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
at least if we make a significant difference in an iteration, we can see what happens when we change things,
Yeah.
and then we can always back off from it.
Well, I think that's the cool thing too. Like you see it with some of the pros when you guys have opened up content-wise to like what they do during their fittings and stuff. Like that video again with Tommy and Adrian is a good example of like Tommy was okay trusting Adrian to break it to see what happened.
Exactly.
And a lot of people get nervous about the break because they feel like they're never going to bring it back. And it's like, well, no, that's the entire
That's exactly
opposite
what I
of-
did. When
Yeah.
I moved those weights, we broke you.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't, I mean, it was horrible, but it's okay.
No, it's good. Yeah.
Minus one. Oh.
It's so close.
Oh. Tell you what, do one more for me. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
One
That
more
ball
for me.
carried like crazy.
Yeah, it's a little high, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Now on this one, I want you to come back here and find your target for me again, please. It's a good idea every once in a while when we're on the range to stop, find the target again.
Just kind of recalibrate.
And the second thing that happens is we stop playing swing and we start playing golf.
Got it.
Okay, that's enough. I just
Oh.
wanted to change one thing.
Okay.
It's, I'll tell you in a second. Be right back.
Do you ever, so one thing I try to do, like when I'm warming up for a round, is I'll hit a driver and then I'll hit a lob wedge. Do you ever have players, like when you're doing a fitting, have them hit, like Duane said, like once you're getting pretty close, maybe have them hit like a 7-iron or something, then a driver, or kind of get them out of that, like
Yeah.
hit a driver, hit a driver, hit a driver, because we never do that on the golf course, right?
So I don't get to do a ton of fitting myself, but when I do, or when I'm testing stuff for myself, I do try to. I'll usually go to like an 8-iron, and just see if my contact is still good, kind of like if the plane's still good, and then go back to feel it because I do think that going, 10 swings in a row, 10 swings in a row, 10 swings in a row. Sometimes, I think like he said too, like your aim bias also changes a little bit when you do that.
Yeah.
But it also gives you just different feel and kind of like loosens up that idea of like, okay, I'm not trying to necessarily, I'm not a robot myself, so my replication of my driver swing is, gonna have
But
its
you
variances.
do, you're a good player, you can do a rhythm though. Do you ever have players like, will you tell them to like, okay, we're pretty much there on the driver just to confirm like, hit like an 8-iron or a lob wedge and then hit a driver? Like, will you get them out of so many driver swings in a row?
It depends.
Yeah.
If I feel like we're in a rut, it's player dependent.
Okay.
But that's, I would say my tool is mostly what I did with you there, was I just have them stop and just say, hey, and most of the time I won't go through what I went through with you.
Yeah.
I'll just say, hey, do me a favor, come on back here. They come out and now just find your target.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. Just kinda
And 9 times out of 10, we get one down the middle, and then I explain why that happened, because to me it's kind of a learning moment of when we're on the range, we'd spend too much time from there on the range, we lose reference of target.
Yeah.
The problem is what happens generally is then we do something squirrely and
Yeah.
we try to fix it from there. When all that really happened was we lost reference to target.
Yeah.
Okay, now that please.
Oh.
Okay, last one. It's interesting what players can be sensitive to. I'll let you in on all of it in a minute.
The anticipation is building.
Good.
Oh,
That felt so good.
Yep. Well, this is where we were.
Oh, this is
I went
back
back I circled back to a setting that was really good. Oh.
There we go.
Yeah, that was back to that same feel.
Good. Now let's trust it. Let's play that. Oh.
That's right where you're aimed.
Yeah.
That looks great.
That's right where you set up.
Yeah, just left of the left white pole.
Yep.
That was best of the day.
Oh.
That's exactly where you were set up.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me at all, yeah.
What we were just talking about?
Yeah.
Your shoulders were pointed at those 3 palm trees.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
So good.
You mean aiming is a thing, guys?
Yeah. What a concept.
Oh, that got deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was big.
So, okay. Let's dive in a little bit. A lot just happened there.
Yeah. All right. So do I get to know now?
Yes.
Okay.
So, just went through a lot there. What's nice is we kind of got to the shaft piece fairly quickly.
Yeah.
You came in with the red board. Now it's 6.3 TX, which is good.
Yeah.
Because with your closure rate, you're on the lower end of closure rate.
Okay.
So slower
Got it.
from the range. So definitely that's speaking to a tighter tip section.
Okay.
Blue, not red.
Yeah.
Basically.
For sure.
right?
Yeah.
It's more middle of the road to even maybe the stiffer side of things.
Okay.
But not red.
Yeah.
Basically, with that closure rate, your release is kind of right at the belt. You're kind of a mid and mid to slow. So that's why we started with blue board, right? And
Yeah.
then I actually went to whiteboard just to see if I tighten it up a little more because that slow closure rate.
Sure.
And we end up in TR blue, right? Which is stiffer than the OG.
Yeah.
Plus is even softer than that. So middle of the road, but on the stiffer side. So you see kind of the theme was,
Yeah.
okay, let's keep it blue, not red, not black, and TR, stiffening, tightening things up.
Okay.
And that was the first time we started hearing the middle of the face and starting to see the ball do the same thing each time.
Yeah.
So from that point, it was really a matter of, now it's dialing in the head and the CG location and loft and getting the ball flying properly.
Yeah.
And you showed some very interesting tendencies of what you're sensitive to.
Okay.
You love to see the face open.
Yeah.
Because at one of those iterations, we're in a 10-5, down 2 clicks,
Okay.
right? So we're down to about 9 degrees of loft, but it makes the face sit wide open. I had you hit a 9 straight up standard.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Okay.
So
I never noticed you switched lofts.
I know,
Yeah.
exactly.
Never noticed.
That's
you
why I
switched
don't tell
lofts.
you.
Yeah.
And what you taught me there was you love to see that thing look open. Because I was the same loft, and I gave you a square club face, and it was bad.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, we got to go back to the 10-5.
Yeah.
And then again, moving the weights around in the head. The first one I did was really dramatic. I was trying to really front weight, put more weight in the front,
Okay.
lighten up the back. I was really doing that because you were tending to live a little low on the face.
Sure.
So by moving the CG forward, because other way, it's almost easier to think about it the other way. More back CG driver is going to do this, presenting that to the ball, right?
Yeah.
So that was the first thing was I put a lot more weight forward and lightened up the back. That was terrible. That was like the iteration. I was like, okay, that was the extreme.
That was that was the break. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So I broke you there. So we had to come back. I kept the back weight, and then I just put a little more front weight. So we have a 5 in the heel,
Okay.
3 in the toe, which 3 standard heel and toe. So I added a little bit in the heel, and trying to front weight a little bit.
Sure.
And then a 13 in the back. I think
Yeah.
So really, that was where we ended up. But it was just very interesting to see your sensitivity. The lie angle it needs to stay flat for you, because that's the other thing. Once I introduced a more upright lie angle, you started low heel. So all these things, what's beautiful about it is because we have the fiducials in the face, and we're getting super accurate data of impact location. I'm able to fit based on impact locations. And see adjustments and see in the head or the shaft. And see those impact locations change.
Absolutely.
So anyway. Other than that, I was just kind of winging it back here.
Yeah, the last 3, like once we hit like the little wedge reset, which was nice, but the last 3 felt point and shoot, man. I mean, aiming aside. Yeah, the last 3
they were
felt
going where
point
you were
shoot.
looking.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can't blame my
and they
shoulders.
were repeating.
Yeah,
and that's again one of the earliest indicators I want to see in the fitting process is, okay, let's see the ball do the same thing each time.
Yeah.
4 out of 5. I mean, I can't take a bad swing away, but when you make a decent pass at it, it's kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Now we can adjust to that either with head design, or for you, it's just alignment.
Sure, yeah.
Because that last one you hit went exactly where you were pointed.
Yeah, because
right?
I reset and
you
actually aimed. Yeah,
right?
that helps, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, cool, guys. Matt, any other nuggets there? Anything? So now, talk a little bit about the app. We mentioned it a little bit, but so talk about how this experience and how closely it relates to the experience of somebody that is buying a driver off the website if they have data to provide.
Yeah, so if you have data, right, so exactly what Duane talked about, where you're living in that spectrum, we took some of your parameters that we're reading from the club head, we're pumping it into the app or the online recommender, and one of the shafts that recommended is the exact one that you're using, right? And so it takes all of your delivery pieces, it looks through all the shafts and it says, okay, I'm gonna place you as a dot on our shaft chart. Yeah. And then we just start to see what's the closest ones, and it gives us 4 options, and that's one of the 4 that Duane really liked, and you can see just how it increased your consistency. So really, what we try to do is take Duane's methodology and his knowledge of all these things, take some measurements that we do across the street, create a system for it so you don't have to have Duane's high level of experience and stuff like that. We're trying to make it a little bit more accessible for people.
I think that's really important for people to understand is like, that is based off of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like, that's not just a pure math algorithm. Like there's so much that gets inputted into that.
For sure.
That I think people, they have this tendency to get worried about things that they think are tech-based, but they don't realize how much human input is in that thing.
Right.
And all it is just trying to merge that gap of people that either can't get fit or, I deal with a lot of people with what I'm doing, of people that are anxious about getting fit, right? And a lot of what I try to do is prime them with enough info that I feel like if I can get them to go into a store with whatever info I can provide them and buy a club on their own that ends up working, now how much better can we make that club if you decide to go get fit the next time? And it's just kind of walking people into that. And I think tools like your guys' now is helping people understand that there's things available to ease the anxiety and the fear, I guess, of having to walk in and, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't want to go get fit because the guy's going to judge me the whole time or whatever it is, that kind of thing. But if we can do things like that to help them and bridge that gap, it's like, they go buy a good QI35 because they picked the right combinations with your guys as selectors. They're happy with the head. And then it's, well, is there still 15, 20% more we could unlock if you did decide to take the next step? And that's really, really cool stuff to do.
And we really, we built the system. So like I said, I saw Duane's presentation, and then I just started going through our MyFitting experience data from like all our experientials and all the shots they take up here, which is a wide range of handicaps. It's not, the theory is not built on robot testing, right? It's built on real true golfers getting fit, how they group themselves in a population, and then you do fit a little math to that.
Sure.
And then from there, it allows us to take people, and even though your swing is unique, similar swings end up in, like I said, our specs are actually,
that's crazy,
our swing's very similar, and our specs are actually very, very similar.
That's funny.
In setup, and that makes sense, right? Because we deliver the club in a lot of the same way, and want to see just a little draw out there. So
the first time Matt started putting some data to it, we actually saw a pretty high percentage of fits that had been done that matched the profiles.
Cool, very cool.
Like we kind of put the logic in, and he looked at actual fits and actual recommendations that had been done in the field.
Yeah.
It was...
that was the gut check. It was like, all right, this seems like it works, and then we went almost retroactively backwards, and I'm like, oh, okay, rarely, like in fitting, because it is so nuanced with how people react to the club, like Duane talked about, all these little parameters, for it to match almost as if I didn't even need to be there, you could just pump it in and this is what it spit out. And the fitters, highly well-trained fitters, kind of ended up at the same spot. We're like, okay, that passes the gut check, which is great. Cool. So
and the point of all of it, kind of what you're talking about, is not to take the fitter out of the mix.
No.
The way when I present it to people, it's like, look, we just want to take some data, take some parameters, answer a couple questions, and say, okay. And we give 3 or 4 options. Say, okay, start here. At least let's put you into a box of type of shaft. Now go be a fitter. right? Listen to what they're telling you. Listen to their comments about feel.
Yeah.
Because that's the butt section under the grip is about feel. Softer, you feel it more. Stiffer, you feel it less. Well, that's good or bad, player dependent. But you get to go be a fitter now. And head design and moving weights around, that kind of stuff. So we're not trying to take the fitter out of it by any means.
No, not at all,
But what we're trying to do is take that huge rainbow shaft wall and say, hey, you're going to find what you need in this bucket.
Yeah.
And then you come out with 2 or 3 shafts, and you know you're probably going to be pretty close.
Yeah.
And then go from there instead of try this, you know, hoping something works.
Yeah, especially with where we are now. I mean, Mitsubishi's got 10 top-of-the-line shafts, Fujikura's got 10, Graphic Design has 10, and then you've got all these other, like, Artera's now out there. Like, there's so much to offer.
They're all good.
It's how do you, it's like, how do you get down to,
just group them.
You know,
But
you
they're all
can't test
different,
40 shafts in a setting, right? Like,
well, even in the bucket of mid-range shafts, like this is, we start with BB, blue board. Well, guess what? This is in the same range of type, middle of the road.
Yeah.
You know, blue board, Ventus blue. The nice thing is they color code them for us, right?
Yeah. Cool.
You know, Tensei white, not blue or orange. You know, but at least it can put you into a range of shaft.
Yeah.
And then from there, be a fitter.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, that was very cool, guys. I'm glad we delved into that. That was, I've only hit this a couple other times. The only thing I have to ask.
Yeah.
What was the highest ball speed number that came out?
Almost 165.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So your club head speed that last swing was almost 2 miles an hour faster than your average once we got you aligned properly.
Yeah. Nice.
Confidence goes up. And that's impressive after, you know, 30 driver swings. You start seeing the fastest head speed and ball speed combination.
Because I feel like I can just let this happen and it's going to work. Yeah. Awesome.
Exactly.
Well, cool, guys. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
That was fun.
Sweet.